Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie with the Cosmic Weather here. Today, on August 28th, the first Monday of Virgo 2023, which started on August 23rd, 2023, and goes, of course, until the fall equinox, September 22nd. And so this astro weather is for the week starting tomorrow, August 29th, until September 4th. So much is going on here in this month of August, which is coming to a close. There's been tons of events astrologically and worldwide, lots of turmoil also lately that I'd like to address to start with, because today in the evening, August 28th, Uranus, the troublemaker planet, maverick planet, goes retrograde. So that will go until end of January 2027 next year, which is typical, which is normal. Uranus goes 5 months retro and is 7 months direct per year, and typically it changes directions these years in August and in January. So whenever a planet goes retrograde, that turnaround phase, that U-turn phase, whether it be Mercury, Venus, all the planets, right, that is a slowing down from Earth perspective of its pace, and therefore there's quite a strong pull into that field of that archetype. So it's quite a focus of the time. So in the second half of August, it has been Mercury that's been stationary because it went retro also on the first day of Virgo, the 23rd of August, and now Uranus. So Virgo is accentuated now by the Sun and by Mercury retrograde, while we're in Virgo season, and then Taurus is also accentuated by Jupiter, which also goes retrograde on the 4th of September, and Uranus. What's with that Uranus effect, which is very acute. So shocks, surprises, trauma, sudden events, sudden turn of events, sudden impact, twists and turns that you were not prepared for, and that basically derail you, or you might feel very unsettled, and that can mean literally unsettling energy. Just look at all the evacuations, and lots of people in Maui literally losing their home, if not their lives or their livelihoods and so on, right? And that caused a whole shock wave around the planet, which is hopefully also in Uranian terms an awakening wave, because Uranus is a wake-up call energy. It's a jolt. It's like a flash of lightning. Something happens quite suddenly that comes out of the blue, and it wants to wake you up, even just, so to say, in terms of live now. This life is precious. This embodiment is precious. Nature is precious. All of that is very Taurian, right? So can we really be consciously alive and free in that way of being? And also liberated, in other words, not be attached to any form, as Taurus would say, or would be about, right? Any particular form that certain experiences need to take. So also being very alert and being in the moment without panicking or without getting all traumatized and going out of body in a way, right? So checking out in a traumatic way, which can easily happen as well. So there needs to be obviously also lots of healing for early trauma wounds, which can be reactivated through these Uranian impacts. And now as Uranus goes retrograde, it's all about coming away from this focus on external events, which have really surprised us, to put it neutrally, and maybe also have required from us to be really free, right? To practice liberation from within with Uranus retrograde, and also be spontaneous and alive. I'm about to write a news article for Uranus retrograde. As you know, on my blog, all these different shifts of planetary energies, they get their dedicated blog, and this one is in the making. And more about the Uranian theme on that blog. Also, what happened recently was yesterday, Mars changed signs, went from Virgo, where it's been since July, since mid July, to Libra, where it will be until October 11th in Libra season. So, Mars is the first planet to enter Libra, and the Sun will be then opening Libra season with the fall equinox, and then Mercury, that is still for quite a while in Virgo because it's retrograde right now, will go into Libra early October, and Venus only early November because Venus is way back in the zodiac now due to her retrograde phase. So Mars sets the tone, and it's about asserting oneself in situations that are maybe not so balanced, not so well matched or coordinated. So Libra typically likes to be nice and pleasant and create harmony, balance, peace. And Mars, the warrior that rules Aries, is now in exile in Libra, furthest away from its home. So it has a bit of a hard time because Mars likes to actually just be on the battlefield, and things are quite antagonistic and belligerent in the Martian world, but also very active and alive. So with Mars in Libra, there's a lot of factors to that, right? So it's also great energy to assert justice, harmony, equality, peace, right? So it can be a peace warrior energy, Mars in Libra, and it can also bring up conflicts in relationships if they are not in good, if it's not well matched, or it's not a good balance of giving and receiving, or any of the themes that are not really compatible, right? And then Mars can help us become more, you know, um, maybe forward about all that, more direct, really addressing it, or moving away if needed, rather than compromising. If you know you can't really negotiate with that person or in that situation, it's time to make a move and find something more compatible. Then, yes, there's a blog article for Mars in Libra already posted yesterday. And then the big news of this week, of course, is the super moon, the blue moon, because it's the second full moon in August. The first was August 1st. The second one is coming up on August 30th here in North America, South America, and the in Europe and Asia it will be Africa, all the east of east of what? It will be August 31st. So yeah, 6-9, so kind of from Atlantic standard. Well, anyway, so all the North American, South American continent, it's the 30th, otherwise it's 31st. And anyway, so that super moon, because it's the closest supermoon to Earth in a series of 4 supermoons that started in early July. July 3rd we had one, August 1st we had one, now August 30th, 31st we have the one that's closest to the Earth even. And then the last one will be on September 29th, the harvest moon. I bet that'll be also super big, appearing super big. So with that, it's also a lot of energy again in that field of the supermoon, which will be in early Pisces, very close to Saturn. I show you that chart. Here's a chart of the supermoon, of the supermoon. The moon in early Pisces next to Saturn retrograde, and the sun in early Virgo, not far from Mercury retro, which approaches the sun, and Mercury and the sun will be together on September 6th. But here is that bigger energy field around the moon with Saturn. We can probably also see, I'm not sure how close, how clear it will be next to the moon to even see Saturn, but in days building up and coming away from the supermoon for sure. So the moon accentuates Saturn in Pisces, which has been on since early March, since Pisces season. And what's with that Saturn in Pisces that's now really coming out big time? Saturn is in Pisces until Valentine's 2026, with a little bit of an Aries energy in 2025. But all in all, more than 2.5 years. And this is just the beginning. So Saturn in Pisces really teaches about the interconnectedness of everything, the web of life, how important it is, and also that domino effects in that web of life can backfire, like literally, right? And can have consequences, right? Saturn is always about cause and effect. What can we learn from cause and effect, and what do we need to do about it to turn this around and to prevent more of these effects from coming? Is it too late? And that's often the question with Saturn too. And also, oh, I hear something like thunder, which is rare here in this area. Anyway, so Saturn also calls us to step up and be in our responsibility, in our own authority, especially with Saturn retrograde. And then what do we do? What do we feed into the energy field, or are being fed by, right? So with all the media, which is also ruled, Pisces also rules media. So media showers, I sometimes call them, right? Being immersed in all this soup of download, which can be quite chaotic and contradictory and overwhelming and draining. So we need also good boundaries and to what can be basically very, which affects our energy field negatively. Right? And so, what do we generate instead that brings higher vibrational quality to our lives that we also then exude and emit, and that being contagious, right? So contagious energies are also Piscean, right? What fills us up, and that can be literally music, dance, art, anything that stimulates the imagination. I was at a beautiful art festival on the weekend that was a parade of beautiful lanterns with electric or battery powered lights. No candles, no fire was lit there, but it was by the sea, and all the beautiful sea creatures that were created with paper mache, and some of them really big structures, reminding us also of the connectedness of the sea and the fragility of all beings. So, and treading lightly, right? And our impact on the web of life is also a theme with Saturn in Pisces. And who's responsible? Whom do we hold responsible? Also, that is Saturn. Then, yeah, and the moon will be after the full moon also moving to Neptune in Pisces, end of Pisces, right? So it's again even more a big wave of love or a wave of fear or wave of joy or wave of grief. So what is the flavor that we're tuning into and that we co-generate? And then if it's energy that we feel is not so conducive and needs to be let go of, Saturn also is like, so how do we allow the energy to move through us and to release it? So there's great techniques about that too, which is very Virgo, right? So a technique I'm remembering is ooh, more thunder. Maybe you can hear it in the audio. So a technique is to visualize yourself as a temple, which is very Virgo, right? And then you know that energy is always coming in, even when it's like a temple with open pillars, right? There's always energy coming in and coming in maybe on different levels of our physical beingness, and they can relate to the chakras. So, can we allow, this is just a short version, right? You can really expand on that and really do that practice. Can we allow the energy to come all the way through us and leave us on the back of our spine, on the back of the temple, and be absorbed and taken care of by the universe? So, yeah, anything that relates to energetic flow and release is very conducive for the super moon that's coming up. And as I said, Virgo is a lot about practices and techniques, methods that we can apply. And Mercury retro in Virgo also shows us how the mind can often get hung up on details, on things that are not lined up, and things that are not in place, or where we get really critical or self critical about, right? So, all of that is also mental weather on the Virgo, Gemini, Mercury retro um, front, right? And I'll also write, of course, an article for the SuperSuperMoon, and it will be the main topic for the Astro News via email that will go out these days. So if you're not on that recipient list, you can always send me an email. That will be in the description below, my email address, and I add you to the list. So what else is going on this week? Okay, I'm going back to my cheat sheet here. On September 3rd and 4th, we have two moves out of and into retro. One is Venus goes out of retro. Yes, on September 3rd, Venus in Leo. And she's been retro since August 22nd. So that's been quite a process that hopefully helped you come back from so much external orientation regarding getting attention, feeling loved, feeling seen, or comparing yourself with others, or being reminded of old relationship patterns, to coming back to ourselves, to true self love, and radiate that out and then attract also from the self love, from our values, and from valuing and appreciating ourselves. So Venus will be then in turnaround storm again on the retro to forward motion for a bit. I would say definitely till mid-September, until the next new moon, September 14th. Take it easy, be kind, be loving with yourself and others. Lots of things are coming up there. Then on September 4th, the day after, Jupiter in Taurus, ruled by Venus, right, goes retrograde. And that will be until December 30th. Jupiter is now in Taurus this year, since mid-May and until end of May next year. So the retrograde phase, which also happens every year, again, we have it like for a bit less than 5 months, 4.5 months, is about finding the abundance and the appreciation that Jupiter represents, also the understanding of what's going on, the bigger picture within, maybe also looking back at old or past situations where you could outgrow a situation, which is Jupiter, by understanding more about it. And in this case, or grow understanding, period, right? So in this case, it's about Taurus. So it definitely affects Taurians out there, and it wants to be a phase for personal growth and expansion in your life. And that, of course, has to do with values, with what you value doing or being what you truly value, and also offering value to the world. That will be also during the time when we have reached the second half of Virgo, sorry, not the second part of Virgo, the central 10 degrees from September 2nd to 11th, which has a Taurus undertone. So very Taurian phase, right? So Taurus undertone of the Virgo part, Venus ruling Taurus going direct, Jupiter in Taurus going retro. And so again, we're related to the earth, to nature, to our earth body, to anything that we enjoy and appreciate and value. And again, to find that intrinsically in ourselves, and maybe also going back to situations in life where we were living more joyfully and bringing that back into the present, and then being generous from that place, right? Life is for joy, and also so connected with nature, nature showing us so much, and we can learn so much and appreciate her so much. And from that love, it can also inspire us to maybe make changes in our lives. Then, yes, so Jupiter joining the retrograde parade, which is quite a lot, 7 planets by that time, while Venus leaving retro, right? So this will be really, it's really already from this evening on, as Uranus goes into retro, the retro record, all-time retro record phase of the year. And with Uranus going retro, with Venus going out of retro, but Jupiter going into retro. So that retro record is from August 28th, this evening on, until September 15th, which is when Mercury goes out of retro, right? But all the retrogrades are also an inspiration to regenerate from within and to come back to what we might have abandoned, lost track of, and really go inwards. It's a beautiful retreat energy, obviously, right? And all the different archetypes have their various messages that and themes that we want to integrate more fully, rather than just experiencing them externally through events and so on, right? I also wrote a special article for the retro record, so you find all that on my blog. And as I said, in the email version that goes out to everybody who is subscribed, you don't miss anything, and you can find the various blog themes consolidated and linked to. Then, yeah, so lastly, the moon. As I said, yes, full moon is the real climax of the week with the super moon. And the moon is now waxing. It's currently in Aquarius and will go into Pisces. When is that? That will be on tomorrow, August 29th in the evening at 8:04 Pacific. And of course, be the supermoon there. And then leave Pisces, going to Aries on September 1st at 6:25 a.m. So all of that is a really fresh beginning energy for September 1st with the moon in the first sign of the zodiac, Aries. It's also like coming out of the deep waters that we might have been part of and that it carried us, but that we could have also potentially gone under and be submerged, overwhelmed. So Aries then says, we got to come out as our individual self again and start fresh, new beginnings, all starts and happens here. Then, yeah, so in Aries, the moon will also meet Chiron. So that's typically also the sequence when the moon is in Aries these years. It will meet Chiron and now also meet the North Node. So the North Node in Aries since mid-July until January 2025 is also an incentive to start from ourselves and be authentic, be true to ourselves, make steps forward, and get going. Baby steps, new beginnings are very encouraged, and especially authenticity. Then the moon will go into Taurus on September 3rd, Sunday, next Sunday, from 8 o'clock a.m. all day Sunday, all day Monday, and until Tuesday, early afternoon, Tuesday, September 5th. So in Taurus, the moon is exalted, the strongest in the zodiac. However, these days, the moon in Taurus also meets Jupiter and Uranus, right? So that happened, by the way. The moon was aligned with Uranus on August 8th, which was the day of the Lahaina fire. And so that itself can also bring up the Uranian piece around surprises, shocks, but also wake-up calls and awakening impulses. Yep, so I leave it here, the Astro News with this. You can find a lot of material on my blog, as I said, and on the email Astro News, and also the offer is still on, the August offer. Client Appreciation Month is still on for a few days because it's all at the happy occasion of the 23rd anniversary of my astrology practice, which started in August 2000. And I like to honor and gift all the clients who have been with me for so long. So the longer the better. The longer you've been my client or the longer ago your initial session was, the more discount you get. And new clients also get 11%. Wow, lots of thunder happening in the meantime. I better get off the recording here so it doesn't get suddenly disrupted by some flash and outage. Take care. Have a beautiful week. Bye.